Be blessed by the divine. How does the changes in environment affect our Kundalini power? Now, the environment is a significant part of our existence on this planet. We are not a cold-blooded animal like a polar bear, for instance, that can change its body temperature according to the environment outside. We are what we call a warm-blooded animal. As a warm-blooded animal, we do not change our body temperature. We have to maintain an inner core temperature. The inner core temperature maintains our electrical field. The air and the heat combine together to form the electrical field of our body. This electrical field has to be harmonious. Only then the air circulation and heat circulation will remain harmonious in our body. When there is harmony in heat and air circulation, then the water circulation also becomes reasonably harmonious. Of course, as long as the chemical field is also maintained very well. For the chemical field to be maintained, we need to maintain our food, we need to maintain our work, sleep, and so on and so forth. But environment plays a significant role in maintaining our electrical field, particularly that of the air circulation and the heat circulation. For instance, let us say that I, for instance, has grown up in a tropical climate. So in a tropical climate, I'm used to temperatures in terms of Fahrenheit around 95 to 100 degree Fahrenheit, around 35 degrees Celsius. Now, so I'm used to that. I'm comfortable with that. I have no problems. I don't feel high discomfort and I don't sweat a lot and things like that. I can survive in that temperature and I can be comfortable with that. When the temperature goes up to say 40 degrees Celsius, about 105, 106 degree Fahrenheit, then it starts to become uncomfortable for me. Then maybe I require a fan or a condition, maybe if I can afford it. So until then I can survive. There is no problem. But then I go into a winter climate. Let's say I go to, first time I remember I going to United States, I went to Milwaukee and in United States in Wisconsin, and I enter in the Chicago airport, and there is something called as a wind chill factor. The wind chill factor drops the temperature further below zero. Already the temperature is like 4 degrees, 5 degrees Celsius, and then that's a wind, huge wind that brings the temperature down to minus 10 degrees, minus 15 degrees, and you feel like you're freezing. You feel like your fingers are falling off your hands, and you can't breathe. You feel like you're breathing ice through your nose, and in that kind of a temperature, it can really deplete the life force, the Kundalini Shakti, because suddenly the body, which is not used to having or living in such cold temperatures, have to suddenly drain itself, convert itself into heat energy, and therefore the biomagnetic transformation takes place in a rapid, accelerated manner that the body is not used to, and therefore there is all kinds of metabolic changes that take place in the body. Suddenly the food that you don't like anymore, you begin to like it. Suddenly the food that you hated, you start liking. Suddenly the food that you enjoyed all your life, you start hating. You can't, for instance, eat ice creams in a place like that. You don't feel like eating in ice creams unless, of course, there are certain types of ice creams that can increase the body temperature and you feel comfortable with it. You don't like to eat food that cools you down. For instance, some types of milk products like curds and yogurt and things like that, we're used to having that in tropical climate. There you cannot really have it. You really feel you catch cold very soon because already your body outside is so cold, and therefore the inside temperature is trying to fight it out and increase the temperature, and suddenly you're putting something inside your food, the food, something that is going inside is cooling down your stomach even further. Therefore everything else is also cooled down. That can suddenly have a shock in your system, and there also the life force can quickly get converted into biomagnetic energy, and there is extreme changes, state transitions that take place, and because of that there is depletion of Kundalini Shakti, the so-called the life energy, biomagnetic energy changes that takes place that can lead to a disruption or disturbance in the electrical field, that can have a direct result on the chemical field, and the chemical field disruption can lead to discomfort, pain, and eventually into disease. And if you don't take care of it, it can lead to death. And therefore we need to be aware of what temperatures we live in, and we remain in that same temperature. We don't expose ourselves out to extreme temperatures all of a sudden, even if you're living in the same city. For instance, if the city like Bangalore, where I live in, the temperature outside can be around 30 degrees, 25 to 30 degrees, pretty much throughout the year, throughout the day. Sometimes it can go up to 35 or so. Sometimes of the year, for instance, in January, it can go down to say 15 degrees or so. But 20, sometimes in December, we experience that 25 is an average temperature, pretty cool temperature. It's not uncomfortable temperature. Now, there is no need for us to have an air condition in a city like this unless you really want to soundproof a room like this studio that I'm sitting right now here. So you need an air condition to breathe. You need oxygen to come into the room, but not sound. So you need to soundproof the room, but bring in oxygen into this room. Except those kind of circumstances, all other circumstances, we can be in an environment where we are constantly in a similar kind of a temperature exposure, and that can prevent loss of our Kundalini Shakti from ourselves. If you are used to having much warmer temperature, remain in that temperature. Don't get into go in and out of cold rooms and stay and then suddenly come out to heat and then go into, as those kind of things can really take your Kundalini Shakti for a huge toss, and that can disrupt yourself. So I hope these tips are useful in understanding how the environment plays a significant role in maintaining your Kundalini Shakti. And in this video, I like to thank my dear son, Dr. Achyutan Ishwar, who has taught me how to have the right kind of dietary system. Because without him, I would have never changed my diet pattern. And today I'm so highly thankful for him for teaching me the Kundalini diet, the naturopathic diet, the right way of living, the whole plant-based food that he introduced us into about 3 or 4 years ago has completely changed the way I live. That made me a lot more happier person, a lot more peaceful person, most importantly, a lot healthier person than I was before. So thank you very much, Achyutan Ishwar. If you're watching this, a big thanks to you for being a part of my life, and you are a great blessing for me. Be blessed by the divine.